I think we're recording. Hi. Buddy Jake. Come on. Go look in the mirror real quick so I can get some idea of the distance. Seems like a good distance right here. Is this too close? Not too close, but it's closer than I want. I guess I want to hold it like here. This seems good though. This seems good though. I like this. So, you know, well, I'm high on mushrooms right now, I should say. I'm gonna put my shoes on. I'd like to go on a little walk and maybe just talk a little about what mushrooms have been in my life and kind of how I use them. Because the first time I took mushrooms, I was 13. See, I was with my friend Sarah Morris? Well, she was in Todd County. She was a dear friend of mine, and we used to spend our summers together, and she showed me mushrooms when I was 13. I think she was 16, so she was like, you know, kind of a mentor in that way, and a really good friend of mine. And so yeah, I took mushrooms. I think we took half-eighth that time, and sorry, I got my shoes on now, so I'll be able to focus on you. So yeah, I took like a half-eighth that first time, and I just remember nothing but giggles, like laughing uncontrollably. And then when she left, she actually had to go, and while I was still like high, like I was still in the peak of my trip, and I was so horny I had to go jack off. I remember my orgasm lasted like 30 fucking seconds. It was insane. It was a really I'd never felt anything like that, you know. I just felt like I kept coming and coming and coming, and that was like a bizarre feeling. So, you know, nothing really spiritual in that first instance. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of release, humor and sexuality, natural things that come up with mushrooms when we are in a more lightweight or pleasurable time in our lives. Now, I was young. I didn't have a lot of pain to uncover yet. So it makes sense that I had a lot of fun my first times, and I feel very lucky and grateful that those were the first experiences that I had, and I kind of got to set that memory in my cells. If your first time ever doing mushrooms was traumatic, then that memory is always going to be with you, and so that is part of the relationship with this medicine. Is if it brings you to a difficult place, that's because there are difficult things that need attention. And some of us are more willing or interested or capable of reviewing those things that maybe are holding us back, are keeping us in limiting patterns, are keeping us under self-limiting beliefs. You know, these are all things that mushrooms can help us look at. And so what happens? You know, I mean, maybe some of you have never done mushrooms, and you might wonder, like, what happens? Well, you ingest the mushroom just like you would any other mushroom, and it doesn't taste great. It tastes earthy, but you chew it up as good as you can and try to drink it with some juice. It's good to have some vitamin C with it. It helps activate it faster. And then, you know, once you've ingested it, it usually takes like 20 to 30 minutes, and you'll start to feel this very strange giddiness. Now this is my experience that I'm sharing, and while I have done this well over 100 times with many people from around the world, everyone's different. Everyone's going to have a different experience, especially their first time. So being calm about it, I think, is the key point. It's like, if you build up any paranoia or nervousness before you take it, that's not the kind of energy you want to be in when you're going into this kind of place. So just make sure you're calm. It's just like if you were eating a mushroom or a carrot. It's really nothing major. Yeah, you might get some epiphanies and some things that might help you along on your life path, but you would have found those things on your own. I promise you. Mushrooms are just kind of like a quick hack or a cheat code to get us quicker to those difficult parts of ourselves that need attention. So I'm someone that really enjoys looking at the difficult parts of himself. I don't get like joy out of it per se, but I've done it so much now that I'm fully aware of the benefits. It's like, I know now that going into a difficult situation that I'm going to come out of it somehow better than I was before. I can never assume what's going to change about me. I can never know. But when I look at a painful childhood memory, a painful issue in a relationship I've had, a painful aspect of myself that I feel guilty or shameful about, regretful, these are part of us. They don't need to be removed. They don't need to be taken away. They need to be seen, and that's it. Mushrooms have allowed me a unique environment to see these parts of myself. And this is what puts people off at the same time as it draws people in. This is not necessarily a light and playful recreational medicine. It can be, just as weed can be, but weed also can be an extremely powerful emotional tool to help us dive deep into our memories, dive deep into our emotions and why we feel the way we do. So as with all things, go with intention. You know, like, live crazy, live wild, and live unintentionally at least 50% of the time. But that other 50%, make sure you're putting some intention in what you're doing, especially with psychedelics, because what you can gain through that intention is immeasurable. Try it out. Love you.